Welcome back. In this module, we will check what parameters get measured in a GD, right? So we interviewed various HRs from various industries, asking them what parameters do you look for in a candidate while conducting a GD, right? And universally, we got communication skill as something that they were looking for, okay? And in communication skill, they said they wanted to see people who follow the communication etiquette, right? Communication etiquette would be not interrupting somebody when somebody is speaking, right? Or if you have to interrupt, being politely raising your hand and saying that, may I contribute, may I. So following the communication etiquette. And then they were looking for people who are active listeners, right? Rather than looking at people who were just waiting for their chance to speak, they were looking for people who are active listeners, people who were asked the right questions, right? People who could convey their point of view or their ideas in a simple, succinct, and precise manner, okay? They were also looking for people who could convey an idea or a point of view according to the audience, right? And then in the end, they were also looking for, in communication skill, they were looking for a person who could summarize the whole conversation at the end, okay? Now, for that, you need to be an active listener, right? So everything is tied up and it is very, very clear what they are looking for. I hope you can pause this video and then have a look at these bullets, the points that I've mentioned, just to understand, okay? The next point was the subject knowledge, okay? They wanted to check the depth of knowledge on the topic, whether this person, whether the topic be current affairs, general knowledge, or any other topic, an abstract topic or a technical topic that is given for discussion. They wanted to know the depth of knowledge of the candidate, right? And some of the HR mentioned that they actually count the number of points that get discussed by a person, okay? And one of the HR said they would go by the person who made the most important contribution to the discussion. So you have to build your general knowledge, current affairs, and knowledge about your core subjects, okay? So that's what they look for. And another thing that they look for was your ability to relate live examples from your life, or from things that you have observed to the GD topics, right? And then your ability to quote facts and statistics to substantiate and and argue for your point, right? So these are things that they look for in subject knowledge. I want you to pause this video, have a look at whatever has been mentioned in the subject knowledge. The next thing they mentioned was the body language, right? They were looking for people who are showing the right body language. So you should be careful that you are not having an aggressive or a passive behavior during GD, which means aggressive means don't point fingers at others, don't make yourself threatening, right? Or intimidating while having a discussion. Now, the opposite of this is having a passive behavior where you are in a resigned state. The discussion is happening and you are just there as a passive audience. Now, that also is not acceptable, right? The fourth point that they mentioned was composure and confidence, right? Most management graduates are going to be future leaders, right? Hence, do you have the confidence to speak in front of a crowd? Are you assertive when somebody is actually negating the data or the point that you mentioned? Are you assertive in fighting for what you believe, right? And do you have control over emotions? Most of the GDs turn into a debate, right? That basically is because people don't have control over their emotions. You should be talking, you're discussing your points without raising the voice, without raising the decibel, right? And also checking your emotional quotient and your participation style. How are you able to take the group along, right? Are you able to gel along with people? So those things get measured. The next point is leadership skill. Okay. Now, how do you display leadership skill in a GD? If you are ready to initiate the conversation in the GD, right? That basically shows you are a leader, right? When others are hesitating to speak, you initiate the conversation, make everyone comfortable, and then the conversation starts picking up. You get noticed when you initiate a discussion, right? The next point that they mentioned was respect for fellow participants. If you are able to facilitate a discussion, your ability to persuade others with your ideas, your coordination skills, wherein, when you see somebody who's submissive in the group discussion, you give them a chance to speak, right? Now that is, they look for that kind of a behavior they look for. And openness to accept relevant points and ideas to make a win-win, which means you should be able to accept others viewpoints and then try to fuse your idea with theirs, so that it becomes a win-win solution to the GD topic that is provided. Okay, this is what's mentioned for leadership skill. Have a look at this, and then let's pause the video, have a look at the points that are mentioned, and then we will go to the next point. So the next point was they wanted to check was your clarity of thinking or your thought process. Okay, are you able to think out of the box? Do you have the presence of mind? If you are given a complex or a perplexed situation, are you able to come out of it? Do you have the decision making or logical reasoning skills? How good are your analytical and critical thinking skills? Now these things get measured. Okay, and in the end, there's of course attitude. Whether you're proactive, you're extroverted, you're bold, you have a team player attitude. Also in attitude, one thing which they mentioned was, do you have the patience to listen to others? And you are not self-oriented. Many of us basically wait for our chance to speak, right? Rather, we should patiently listen to others and then look at how we can contribute to the discussion.